Previously, on the 5th day of deer camp, George, Bernie, Toivo, and Jocko are all childhood friends who have been for years been going to a hunting cabin owned by Arnold, Bernie's father. In a week-long binge of drinking, firing guns, playing poker, and generally smelling bad, this harmless escape has gotten serious when an alien invasion appears to happen in the world around them. But secluded deep in the woods of northern Michigan, these 5 men now face a situation where they must fight for their life. And now, the 6th day of deer camp. The ever-loving F. Sorry guys, my Schwarmy sound is gone. There it is. Let's try this again. Steve, here we go. I found it. George didn't want to be the one to say it, but it had to be said. We can't stay here. They all looked at him. Gloved hands flexed on hunting rifles. Jocko gave a tiny, weak shake of the head. Bernie closed his eyes and sighed. Toivo glared. Only Arnold nodded. Older, wiser, but even he clearly wasn't crazy about the idea of leaving. The impossible had happened. An actual alien invasion. George and his 3 boyhood friends, and the man who had been a father figure to them all, were sitting in the same cabin they'd come to every November for almost 3 decades. A remote spot in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The middle of nowhere, really, and something had crashed here. Something that wasn't a plane or a jet or anything else they knew. That something was out in the woods. The deep woods, behind the cabin, among the pines and spruces and birch and several feet of snow. They had seen it. A vague shape through the trees, red and green and blue lights filtering through the darkness and the wind-driven white. It was out there, the ship, and, according to the internet stories they'd read on Bernie's phone, ships similar to it were attacking major cities all over the world. And that was all the info they had to go on. Cell phones weren't working anymore, voice or internet, and even back in the day when landlines were all there were, this cabin hadn't had one. Why that ship had crashed here, George didn't know. Neither did his friends. What they did know was that 3 days of steady snow had choked the narrow, back-country roads, making them impassable by car. They could walk out on foot, sure, if they could survive the cold long enough to reach shelter elsewhere. The very reason they came to this cabin year after year after year was because there was nothing near it. In this weather, with this snowpack, it was at least an hour's walk to another cabin. There was one snowmobile, an old thing that had sat idle this year and last. George remembered someone firing it up 3 years back. Would it even start? If it did, it could get 1 man out, maybe 2, but not 5. Just say it, George thought. Just tell them you should take the snowmobile because you have to get out of here. Get to your sons, get to your wife. That little voice nagged at him, told him to use the parent trump card that all parents of young children used. But this wasn't getting out of work a little early to pick up the boys from soccer practice. This wasn't asking someone else at the office, someone who didn't have kids, to stay late because you had to get the babysitter home. These were his closest friends, men that he loved, and leaving them would be the most selfish thing. If they're really your friends, they'd understand, George thought. You've got kids. Just ask them if you can. Can't stay here, you say, Toivo said. Well, we sure as hell can't leave, Georgie. Toivo had sobered up. Mostly. His eyes still looked tired, hung-over tired, and a bit of gleaming snot stuck to his mustache. Dressed in a full snowsuit over 2 sweaters, he looked like a brown Pillsbury doughboy. So did George, for that matter. So did everyone else. Toivo gestured to the cabin's ratty wall. "What the fuck you think we're gonna do outside, Georgie? Hide in the woods? It's fucking 40 below out there!" George nodded. That was the problem, wasn't it? Cold was one thing. He was a grown man, he could handle cold, but 40 below wasn't cold, it was something else altogether. And then there was the snow, still falling steadily from the night sky, increasing the thick whiteness that covered bare branches and pine boughs alike, adding to the 3 feet already on the ground. That snow hit all the sticks and logs and foot-snapping holes around the shack. But there were no trees or sticks on the road. Nothing there but snow. The road would take them away. They needed to be on that road, and the sooner, the better. Get them all moving, Georgie thought. It doesn't matter. Get them out of here and find a way to get home. That ship is close, George said. We're the only building in the area. He pointed to the cabin's small, black wood-burning stove, which gave off heat that seemed far more delicious now that he knew he'd soon leave it behind. The stove is putting out smoke. If they have IR, they'll see the shack lit up all red or whatever it is, and they'll know that there are people in here. Arnold's wrinkled face furrowed. IR? What the hell is that? Infrared pops, Bernie said. You know, like in Predator. Arnold's bushy eyebrows rose. Oh, yeah, like Predator. Those two, Arnold and Bernie, they had such a strong father-son resemblance, they looked like a before and after picture. This is you before you start to smoke, kids, and this is you after. Bernie was over 40, same age as George and Jocko and Toivo, with his full hunting cabin beard that had taken him only a week to grow. Arnold, white stubble in and on the folds of his face, tired eyes peering out from behind thick glasses. This ain't a movie, Toivo said. This ain't about IR. Georgie, I love you, but stop lying. You think you can get back to Milwaukee. A stab of guilt, like George had been caught in a crime. He could not lie to these men, at least not convincingly. They knew him too well. I do, George said. We have to get out of here, you guys, at least out of the cabin. They're killing people all over. They'll come here, and if they find us, they'll probably kill us too. Bernie walked to the stove. We should put the fire out anyway. If there's no fire, they can't see us maybe. We'll lose heat, but at least we're protected from the wind. Jocko shook his head. Putting it out makes way more smoke. Just let it burn out on its own. He was right about the smoke, but the tone in Jocko's voice made it clear he was more worried about the cold. Everyone looked worried, scared, but Jocko more than the rest. His oversized glasses framed wide eyes made wider by the thick lenses. He was the smallest of the 5, always had been. So small that his rifle made him look like a preteen boy dressing up as a hunter for Halloween. He had children, too, a pair of daughters. At 5 and 7, they were the same age as George's boys. George had often teased Jocko that his boys would someday date those girls. Toivo tried to sling his rifle over his shoulder, but his snowsuit's bulk blocked him. We got guns, he said. He tried to sling the weapon a second time, succeeded. We can defend ourselves, eh? We stay here, but we don't die from the cold. Maybe you forgot what it's like because you live in a big city, Georgie, but in the woods, you don't fuck with 40 below. Jocko righted a folding chair that had been knocked over when the alien ship had screamed overhead. So close and loud, the cabin rattled as if struck by artillery. He sat. Defend ourselves, he said. Toivo, those things are blowing up cities. From what those websites said, they're taking out the military and they're winning. You think hunting rifles are going to do anything? Toivo shrugged. Well, I'm no physicist, but bullets will probably kill those things just like they'd kill us. Physicist, Jocko said, shaking his head. You dumbass. Phys ed is Jim. George did not want to listen to them jabber. His sons were probably terrified, wondering where their father was. His wife was, well, she was probably loading the shotgun and getting the boys into the basement. No trembling flower, his wife. Bernie, put out the fire, George said. Sorry, Toivo, but we have to get out of here. I'm telling you, they're going to come for this cabin. They crashed. They'll want to secure the area. Toivo snorted. Security area? What the hell are you, George? Some Delta Force guy or something? Are you Chuck Norris, are you? George didn't have any military experience. None of them did. Just 4 men in middle age, and one well past it, who knew nothing more about soldiering than what they had seen in the movies. Toivo pointed to the cabin's warped wooden floor. We're staying here. They come, we got guns. If we stay, we put out the fire, Bernie said. I agree with George. Infrared. Jocko shook his head. Don't put it out, you idiots. Whatever it is in that ship probably has its hands full. We leave it burning, but we get on the road. I'm with George. I gotta get to my daughters. 2 men, George and Jocko, with little kids. 2 men, Bernie and Toivo, with none. And Arnold, whose grown son was standing right next to him. 3 sets of needs, 3 sets of perspectives. Arnold coughed up some phlegm, then swallowed it in that abstract way that old men do. George is right, he said. You boys get out of the cabin. George felt a sense of relief that Arnold, the man who had practically raised him, the best man George knew, was with him on that decision. Okay, George said. So we hit the road, we stay together, and we hope for the best. Arnold shook his head. I said you boys get out of the cabin. I'll keep an eye on the ship, make sure nothing comes after you. Bernie rolled his eyes, as if his father's sudden act of bravery was not only expected, but annoying as well. Dad, we don't have time for that shit. We're all going. I'm 72 goddamn years old, Arnold said. I've been faking it just fine, but there's only so much left in my tank. My bum hip is killing me. No way I'll make it in this cold sun. So you do what your father tells you, and you... Shut up, Jocko hissed. You guys hear that? They didn't at first, but the noise grew. Over the whine of the wind, through the trees outside, they heard faint snaps and cracks. Something was coming through the woods. Something big. We move now, Arnold said. You boys, come with me. They rushed from the house, bumping into each other, stumbling off the rickety 2-step porch. Toivo fell sideways as he ran. The snowbank rising up from the thin path caught him at a 45-degree angle, so he didn't fall far. George had assumed Arnold would run for the road, but he didn't. He turned right and stumbled through the snow toward the cabin's corner. Arnold, where are you going? George stopped, but the others didn't. They followed Arnold. 3 men carrying hunting rifles, stumbling through snow that came up to their crotches, moving too fast to walk in each other's footsteps. Jesus H. Was the old man attacking? They vanished around the corner, not running away from the oncoming sound, but toward it. And George found himself alone. The cold pressed in on him, on his face, tried to drive through his snowsuit as if it were armor that would slowly, inexorably dent and crumble under the pressure. Out of the cabin for all of 10 seconds, and he already felt it. The porch light cast a dim glow onto the path. The blanket of white on the driveway and the walls of that same stuff surrounded the truck, covered it so that it was really only a vehicle-shaped snowbank. He looked at the snowmobile, or rather, the curved hump hiding it. The keys were inside the cabin. He could grab them. The others had left him alone. He had to get back to his family. He could dig down to the snowmobile. No, that would take 20 minutes all by itself. Then the thing probably wouldn't start. He had to run, get as far down the road as he could. Little Jocko, Bernie, Toivo, and Arnold, Mr. Ekela. The people who had made George who he was, go after them or head down the road alone and start a 360-mile trek to Milwaukee. From the other side of the cabin, he heard the crack of a tree giving way, a brittle sound quickly swallowed by the snowy night. George couldn't do it. He could not leave his friends. He would get home as soon as he could. He would. He held his rifle tight in both gloved hands and ran to the corner of the cabin, stumbling through the snow, just as the others had done. Most people don't know real cold. Oh, sure, they've been cold before. They've sat through a football game in below freezing temperatures. They've experienced winter here or there, perhaps even been dumb enough to take a vacation to Chicago in December. All of those things are cold, but real cold, don't fuck with 40 below cold, that can kick your ass. That can kill you. George tried to stop shivering, but he couldn't. Wind slid through the trees, drove the cold into him as if he wasn't even wearing a snowsuit. 3 sweaters, jeans over long johns, 3 pair of socks, gloves, a hat with the hood up, and even a scarf wrapped tight around all of it to cover his nose and mouth. His hands felt like there was a steel vise on each knuckle of each finger, and the fingertips themselves stung like he'd sliced off the ends and dipped the raw stubs into battery acid. And he'd only been outside for 5 minutes. 40 below? Maybe worse than that. Maybe far worse than that, with the wind chill factored in. He followed the footsteps of his friends, mostly by feel because it was so dark. No porch light here. No stars. He wouldn't have been able to see anything at all if not for the barest glimmer from the covered moon turning the snow gray. He had a flashlight in his snowsuit pocket, but he knew better than to use it. Most people don't know real cold, and most people also don't know real snow. The kind that piles up week after week. A crispy layer near the bottom where the hidden legs... A crispy layer near the bottom with the hidden logs and sticks. A layer so firm that when you break through it and stagger on, sometimes your foot slides right out of your boot. Above that, the dense snowpack. And then finally, on top, several inches of the fluffy stuff. Every step sank so deep he couldn't quite raise his boot all the way out to take the next one. He was wading more than walking. So dark. The woods were nothing but shadows holding aliens. They had to be out there somewhere. Probably had already come out of the ship and were closing in. He should have stayed on the road. Gotten out of there while he could. He should have... Georgie, over here. Bernie. The voice was so close. Shadows moved. Just to the left, heads peeking up from behind a fallen tree, the trunk smooth and softened by snow. George stumbled toward it, each step breaking through the crust and driving in with that styrofoam-sounding crunch. He felt more than walked the last 3 feet. His friends caught him, pulled him down. His chest heaved, drawing icy knives deep into his lungs. They huddled together out of a need for warmth, or maybe just from pure fear. Another crack. That thing coming through the woods. George wiped his glove across his eyes, clearing away flakes that clung to his lashes. He rose up to his knees, peeked over the log. The cabin was so close. How could it be that close? It seemed like he had been walking forever, each step a battle, but he hadn't made it more than 30 or 40 feet. He was close enough to see smoke slipping out of the thin stovepipe, instantly ripped into the night by the unforgiving wind. The cracking again, a branch giving way, maybe an entire tree, and a new sound, a grinding, like machinery that had seen better days. In the woods, a shape, a big shape, backlit by the ship's red and green and blue lights. George slipped back down. He looked to Arnold, shivering Arnold, old Arnold. "Why?" George hissed. "Why didn't we run?" "IR," Arnold said. "Like in the Terminator." "Predator," Bernie said. "Like Predator, Dad." Arnold's body trembled horribly, like an invisible hand that had him between giant fingers, rattling him like some child's toy. "Heat. The heat," he said. If they see that, they would chase us down." George stared, dumbfounded. They had followed this man here because of that reasoning. They could have been 100 yards down the road by now. Instead, they were closer to the oncoming threat. Arnold, the man he'd once known only as Mr. Eckela, had been their rock once, but now he was just a scared old man who made a shitty decision based on a movie he couldn't fully remember. "Hey," Jocko said, couldn't Terminator see an infrared too?" Toivo and Bernie thought for a moment, then nodded. George wanted to punch them all right in the nose. Over the wind scream, the cracking and grinding drew closer. George had a flash memory of a summer campfire some 30 years earlier. The night stars above, skin on his face and toes and knees nearly burning because the closer you sat to the fire, the less mosquitoes and black flies bothered you. Mr. Eckela, a flashlight under his chin, casting strange shadows on his cheeks and eyes, telling a story of a killer with a limp. You knew this killer because of the sound, the thump drag sound. A good foot stepping forward, then the slide of the bad foot following behind. Thump, drag. Thump, drag. George had told that story to his sons. It had scared the hell out of them, just like it had scared the hell out of him. And now, a version of that sound had him damn near pissing his pants. A version with the added tones of snapping branches and broken gear. Thump, drag, crack, snap. Thump, drag, whir, snap, crack, whine. George's friends huddled down lower to the ground, pressing against the log like they were newborn George's friends huddled down lower to the ground, pressed against the log like they were newborn pups nursing from their mother. Someone had to look. Someone had to know what was coming. George forced himself to rise up just enough to see over the snow-covered log. Thump, drag, crack, whine, grind, snap. The thing broke through the tree line just 30 feet from the cabin. A robot. A big-ass robot, maybe 15 feet tall. 2 legs, the left stepping forward, the right dragging along behind, functioning barely enough to position itself so the machine could take another step with its left. Broken branches jutted out of tears in the metal shell or plastic, whatever it was made of. Bipedal. No arms George could see, but cracks everywhere. Breaks and tears and dents, smoke streaks. The thing was trashed. Part of the shell was ripped free near the top. Hard to see in the darkness and the snow, but George could make out a yellow shape. A form that moved. Sweet Jesus. Inside of it was an alien. Thump, drag. Thump, drag. The robot paused 5 feet past the tree line. Big feet hidden in the deep snow. Something fluttered open near what George could only think of as the machine's lips. Then a flash and a rocket shot out, closing the distance in less than a second. He was already dropping behind the log when the cabin erupted in a fireless explosion that launched a hailstorm of broken board shrapnel into the woods, knocking free chunks of clinging snow that had withstood the blowing wind. George's ass hit the ground. He stared into the dark woods, his mind blank. A shoulder on his hand. Jocko, leaning in. "Georgie, was that the fucking cabin just blew up?" "I gotta get on the road, get to Milwaukee," George thought. "Whatever it takes to reach my children, I have to find a way." "Georgie! Yes, goddammit, it was the cabin!" The sound again. Thump, drag. Thump, drag. "Shit," Jocko said. Said it with such ferocity that it contracted his body, made his head snap forward. "Screw that! Everyone, shoot that thing on one, okay?" Thump, drag, coming closer. "3," Jocko said. Counting? Why was he counting? It was a damn robot thing that blew up buildings. Thump, drag. 2! Holy shit, Jocko was going to fire at that thing out there? Thump, drag. "Jocko, no, you... 1!" Movement all around. George's friends rising up, the crack of rifles firing followed by the sound of bolts sliding back then forward again. George ripped off his gloves, held the rifle tight as he rose to his knees and turned, all one uncoordinated, lurching movement. He swung the barrel of his Remington 700 over the top of the log, knocking aside clumps of snow. The hand cupping the forestock pressed down on the log, snow instantly melting from the heat of his skin. The big machine turned sharply, swiveling at the hips like the turret of a tank, swiveling in a herky-jerky, halting fashion. George fired instantly, without aiming, had no idea if he'd hit. Gunshots from his left and his right. He popped the rifle's lever up and pulled it back, hearing the faint ring of the ejected shell, shoved the bolt back, but it stuck. His hand slipped off, lurching him forward into the log. The guns kept firing. "I've never even shot a deer. What the hell am I doing? I should have gone to the range more. He slammed the bolt home. The sound of it locking into place seemed to slow time from a mad explosion of a volcano to the slow creep of its lava flow. He looked through the scope at the 15-foot-tall machine, only 20 feet away, sighted through one of the tears in the shell at the yellowish form. He pulled the trigger. The Remington jumped. He saw the yellow thing inside twitch, then fall still. It didn't move. Neither did the machine. "Stop firing!" he shouted. The rifle reports ended like someone had unplugged a TV in the middle of an action movie. No gunshot echoes, not with the snow-covered trees eating up all sound, save for the wind. George stared. They all stared. No one knew what else to do. Slowly, like a top-heavy bookshelf with one too many knickknacks, the thing tipped forward. 15 feet of alien machine arced down and slammed into the ground with a billowing woof of snow. The top of it was only 5 feet away. They stared at it. It didn't move. Somewhere, under there, hidden by all that bulk, was the alien who had been driving it. "Holy shit," Jocko said. "I think we killed it." George hoped so. He looked to his right, to the cabin, or what was left of it. Shattered, destroyed, blown apart with such force that there were only a few stumps of broken wood and a snow-free patch marking the place he and his friends had come every year for almost 3 decades. "Told you bullets would kill it," Toivo said. "Who's the physicist now?" The wind kept howling. The wind didn't care. "Guys," Bernie said, "we gotta get moving. I'm freezing, eh?" Those words might have well been boiling oil thrown on George's hands. The cold smashed them, ground at his fingers. He set the gun against the log, almost fumbled it in the process, then grabbed his gloves out of the snow and pulled them on, only to find snow had somehow gotten inside of them. His gloves were wet. Wet inside. It's getting colder, Arnold said. How the fuck can it get any colder? The old man started to cough. He bent at the knees, then fell to them, his body shaking. Bernie knelt next to him, held him close. He looked up at George. We gotta get Dad inside. Jocko pointed to where the cabin had been. Inside where, Bernie? Shit! There's no more inside! Bernie shouted back at him. Then build a fucking lean-to or something. Start a fire. Jocko slung his rifle. Build a lean-to? I don't have that merit badge, eh? The two began arguing. Jocko about how they might as well start walking, and Bernie about how they couldn't, how they had to find a way to help Arnold. Jocko didn't say the words. He couldn't. None of them could. But he was making a case for heartbreak. If they started moving, they had a chance, even if that meant Arnold did not. George took off his wet gloves, stuffed them into a snowsuit. His hands, brittle as glass, searched his pockets. He wasn't going to last long out here. None of them would. Toivo pointed to the woods, to the red, green, and blue beams filtering through the trees, beams that colorized the driving snow. There is sewing inside, he said. Right there, the only one we got. Bernie and Jocko stopped arguing. Well, shit, Jocko said. Bernie pulled his trembling father tighter and nodded. Toivo's right. It's that or Dad dies. That or, George said, his jaw betraying him, suddenly clacking his teeth together so rapidly that the words wouldn't come out. He clenched, fought down the shivering long enough to say 5 more words. That or we all die. That was the first half of the 6th day of deer camp, which follows on the 5th day of deer camp. Next episode, we'll have the second half of the 6th day of deer camp, and then we'll finish it all up with the 7th day of deer camp when the bonus points really add up. That's it for this episode. Hope to hear from you guys next time. Goodbye. All right. Woo! We're done. It's a pretty rough start, but I thought it started to roll along pretty good. Yes, those are fun stories. It's been a while. Those came out a long time ago. I think Jay Radamus is thinking about, let's go to chat. He says, every time Scott said the line, don't fuck with 40 below, it reminded me of a novelty song the radio station morning show I used to listen to would play in the winter. And that song, I believe is, well, it's 40 below and I don't give a fuck. So heat in my truck and I'm off to the rodeo. Man on left, man on right. Come on, you fucking dummy, get your right step right. Get on stage, you goddamn goof, get on. You piss me off. Fucking jerk. Get on my nerves. Well, here comes Danny's one ball man was peckering saying he's off to the rodeo. Whereas man on left, man on right. Come on, you fucking dummy, get your right step right. Get on stage, you goddamn goof, get on. Piss me off. You fucking jerk. Get on my nerves. Dun, 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 dun. I believe that's a song you were thinking of, sir.
What is happening?
It's a song. Oh, what you need?
I need a little help.
Need an assist? I'm so sorry. I don't have your welcome sound effects. I'm so bummed out. I don't know what happened. Do this, and all right. And then let's get babies make. Everybody say hello to the amazing, fantastic, gorgeous, talented, a real girl herself.
Yeah, that was weird because I signed off of the computer. Oops, this way.
You do that. You know what you're doing.
And then when I came upstairs, I heard whatever that was.
I don't know who sang that song, but like Radimus said, it's a novelty song. And
it's a novelty song.
It's an old funny song they used to play on the radio. And of course, it's all bleeps on the radio. But when you don't have the bleeps, it's a very fun song. It's very well written. Come on, you fucking dummy, get your right step right. Get on the stage, you goddamn goof, get on. You piss me off, you fucking jerk. You get on my nerves. Obviously, we're going to get a child-safe rating on this once Facebook AI goes through it.
My dear friend John Vizcarra, apparently something happened to the applause sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
We have something weird happened. All my buttons have
Jen,
changed.
please
They're all gone.
say goodnight to
gone.
Josh for us.
Yeah, this sucks. I don't know what
Is there
happened
another
here. Oh wait, here it
screen?
is.
Hey Daryl, nice to see you.
Turn that fan on, sweetie.
Will do.
Somebody moved my buttons, and it probably was me. I'm probably the person who had the buttons moved. All right, here's what we got going on, you guys. We are going to talk briefly about the Only Way Out is to Buy sale. We just launched yesterday. Was going to play a drone sample, but we're clearly not going to get to that. Library of the 6th Day of Deer Camp. We're going to show some pictures from the Austin tour stop.
You guys.
And we got a publishing schedule with all kinds of shit going on to it. And we got interesting stuff. But let's go. Let's get into it right out of the gate. Let's do it. Let's go. It's a new feature. We're bringing it back because it works so well for us. Let's talk about review counts. Ladies and gentlemen, reviews are a very, very important part of this process. I was surprised. We're 8 days into the release of the Crypt Shakedown. We're already, oh my God, we're at 98 ratings.
You guys are the absolute best.
These are turning out to be very good. Remember, if you listen to it on Audible, you go to the Crypt Shakedown on Audible, and then there are ratings. And you can leave yourself a rating. Leave a rating for the book when you finish. You can do that on your phone, you can do it on your computer, wherever it is. And then this is fantastic.
William Zapata, look at that.
Ratings really, really help because they trip the algorithm. And the ratings mean the more good ratings, the more this book could get shown to people who've never heard of me. Come in here, leave a review. If it's a 5-star review, leave it. If the book didn't do it for you, if you think it's like 3.5, 4, and you're like, I want a review and help Scott out, I'll just leave a 4. I prefer you just didn't because we're playing a math game here.
It's true,
If the book didn't do it for you to give you a 5-star, no problem, that happens. But just, consider leaving that review off.
And I'll say this. I read something today, just sort of keeping apprised of our industry, which is the value of contributing or putting in something called a DNF review. DNF stands for did not finish. And while I don't think you guys are going to have that problem, you may or may not like it, as Scott said, but if you are a big reader, it was very interesting because...
Is that a positive or negative for the algorithm?
Here's the thing. If you are a person who wants to leave a useful review, you saying something like, hey, this was really interesting to me. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't get past all the clicks in the audiobook. I couldn't get past all the whatever. I couldn't get past the narrator's voice, all of those things. But you leave a constructive criticism. That apparently is very good for a book after the first 6 months.
So is there...
Apparently in the first... Sorry.
Is there a place to put did not finish? Because I'm not familiar with that. You can't
I just
do it
read
Audible.
it today. Well, you just put it in the title of your review. You just say DNF. That stands for did not finish.
And then do you just not put stars? Do you have to put it once? You still have to put stars in there.
I think you still have to put stars, but some people are putting stars like 4 or 5 stars, but saying, I couldn't finish this book for XYZ reason. So, but the big thing that I'm telling you, because I know we have a ton of big readers here, is somebody did kind of a look at the marketplace and said, those are actually useful and helpful as long as they're not in the first half of, or the first 6 months of a book's existence, because at that moment, there's all these new readers. So I just thought that was so interesting, that weird setup.
Yep. So let's go back to this. So while you're here, and this is also very helpful, this is a good thing. If you go to Audible and leave a review, which I appreciate, you will see this little button here, which is sort by most helpful or most recent. You can help us a little bit. You go to sort by most helpful, and then we have to go most recent. And then if it's another lovely 5-star review, because people are so lovely, you click this little button right here that says helpful. Because
it's
what
so
happens?
Helpful.
What happens every time is somebody will read this book, they'll spend their credit on it, and they won't like the book, and they will get very angry that they wasted their credit or whatever, and then they will go through, find every negative review, and mark those reviews as helpful. It is something that we have seen for years.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you guys click the 5-star reviews as being helpful, when people first get to the page, the first thing they see is the most helpful review, and they might scroll down and they'll see a bunch of lovely 5-star reviews. So that's really super helpful to us. Let's take a look at Amazon.
And it is really hard to precisely say how helpful this is because it changes so much. It changes our ability to be a daily deal. It changes our ability to be a sale of the week or be in an Audible sale or things like that. That's how they kind of formulate these things. So activity on a book is really, really useful.
All right. So here we are in the Kindle one. And over on the Kindle side, of course, you guys, most of you read my stuff via audiobook, but some do Kindle. Kindle's at 54 ratings and doing good. I believe you can rate it in both places, especially if you bought both. If you bought one, you can go both places. I believe you can rate it, and it's the same thing. You just go through it, and then you click ratings, go through, 5-star, 5-star, helpful. So I appreciate that. So now that's done. Let's take a look. It's been a while. Let's see how our other ones are doing.
Hey, Christine. Nice to see you out there. Christine and I met last week in Austin. It was awesome.
We're going to show pictures of that.
Yeah, it was awesome. She's delightful.
Earthcore is up to 12,425 ratings.
You guys.
It's phenomenal. Same thing if you feel like got a couple minutes skill, go over there and click up the 5-star reviews. So I guarantee it's been a while since I looked at this. So we'll probably have, most helpful, lovely. Yep, we're getting. And then the second most helpful is nope, yes, nope. So a brutal 2-star review. And then as you see, like I said, here's some, you guys have lovely 234 people have upvoted this 5-star. And then because haters going to hate, the next one is 2 stars. The next one is 1 star. The next one is 3, because the people, look at this, the people who don't like it go through and find other negative reviews to upvote. So even on a wonderful thing like Earthcore, go through, find those 5-star reviews. It's wonderful. And then let's take at Mount Fitzroy. Because what happens is, if think about yourself. You're buying a book. You're like, this A. Kovacs sounds interesting. Let's take a look at the book she narrated. And the first 4 reviews are these brutal negative reviews. You're like, maybe I'll tap out and go do that. So that's why I ask you guys to do this little extra favor. And I've done it too.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to everybody because, of course, you're not everyone on Earth's flavor of the week.
Correct.
You're not. So it's going to happen.
And then Fitzroy, there was a time on the show where we were keeping the count. We wanted to get to 2,000 reviews, then 3,000 reviews. Now
you
we
guys
have
remember
4,248 reviews. It's friggin' fantastic. Let's take a quick. There's Ray Porter, awesome. And we'll go down here, most helpful, and you guys have done really, really bolstered us here for sure. Look at all those 5 stars and most helpful.
Thank you so much.
So leave a review for The Crypt wherever. You can leave it on Goodreads. You can leave it on Audible's the most helpful to us, I think, for The Crypt, but Kindle's very good too. While you are there, upvote other 5-star reviews. And if you have time, jump over to Earthcore, upvote all the helpful ones there and try and combat the negative Nancys. They're just so negative. All right.
Todd actually asked in the Facebook chat room how people could not like Earthcore. And, sometimes Scott gets reviews like, I just am so afraid of caves, so I have to rate this a none. Or I am not allowed to give no stars, so I gave it a 1 because I'm afraid of caves. And they bought a book.
Yeah.
And tried to read a book
about
caves.
And we get a lot of negative reviews because there's too much cursing in it. So that happens a lot. People read my book like, there was just so much foul language. I'm like, dude, clearly you've not fucking met me because there's going to be foul language. All right, let's get back to this. Knock this stuff out. Signing madness going on at Mysterious Galaxy Books. If you go to, we'll show you right now. We're up to 400 signed copy orders. If you want a signed copy, let's go back to books and boom, boom. Here it is. You just go to scottsigler.com/thecrypt. And here's all the links. You can click to leave reviews. But here, this little one right here, you can see this purple autograph copy. Takes you to Mysterious Galaxy Books. They're up to 400. We've had 2 signing sessions so far. We're going to have one more, probably a third one after that. Because as soon as they get the books in, they're ordering more. So we go sign the ones that have been signed. So you can get that there. And then publishing schedule, let's go over that. Some more fun stuff. First of all, what just came out today.
Yesterday, Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yep.
There it is. Weird Tales, we're going to take a look at this. Edited by Jonathan Mayberry. This is a seminal, pivotal magazine in the world of horror fiction. Its 100th year anniversary issue is a beautiful, gorgeous hardcover book. We've only seen pictures. We haven't got it yet. But a hardcover book with all this incredibly just great art. It's got gloss elements, got spot varnish to it. It's cool stuff on the back. This is out there. It's so new, I don't even have it at my site yet. But if you're interested, I have a story in here called The Third Man from the Left in the Picture Over the Second Urinal at McTeague's Bar in San Francisco, or some long-ass title like that. And so it's really cool. So that just came out yesterday. And then... Yes.
Is that at McTeague's?
Yes, that's
You want to tell them?
No, not now. We don't have time right now. We'll,
Okay.
we'll have to tell them next week. And then, shit, what was I doing? Let's see. Okay, so, and then coming up October 15th over at scottsigler.com, we are not releasing the story I just read to you until later. We put that out later. But Blood is Red, Iowa Typhoon Part 2 will be up at scottsigler.com this coming Sunday or in your podcast feed. What's in there right now is Iowa Typhoon Part 1 and Wolf and A's favorite story, Red Man. Red Man is up over at scottsigler.com. Still A's favorite story. It's part of the reason that we actually started working together. And,
Yep.
I landed this chick because the story's so damn good. That's what it is. So that's what's going on. And then October 31st, it gets even more interesting.
Oh, you guys.
Coming out October 31st for Halloween. This is, now, I don't have the cost of it here, but I think the cost is like $12, $13, which is very interesting. It's 1 credit, but I want you to keep in mind, 2 hours and 46 minutes. So, but it's not an audiobook. It's not an audiobook. What it is, can I open this in a new tab? Open image. What it is a original screenplay written by myself and director Adrian Picardi that the wonderful people at Graphic Audio brought in a full cast, 14 actors, including me, and they did the whole thing with sound effects. So this basically, their tagline is, it's a movie in your mind. So this is the way they approach it. If you were blind watching a movie, it would sound like this, but you get a narrator telling you what's going on.
It's $13.99.
$13.99.
It's $13.99.
Or
if you
1
buy it.
credit on Audible, and over at graphicaudio.net,
Yep.
you can get it there as well. So if you want to spend the money to get that, wonderful. Just
Oh,
pre-order.
and Sean says it's on sale.
Oh, great! $7.99 right now on Audible. So there you go. So the place you want
$9.79.
$9.79 on Audible. So the place you want to go is Audible, and if you want to buy it a la carte, $9.79 for almost 3 hours of entertainment. Not bad. And then you, of course, can use a credit. If you've got credits backed up, you can do it right there.
So, FDO, we have had several questions come in over the last, since you announced this. Is Druden part of the Siglerverse?
No, Druden is not part of the Siglerverse. Druden is a World War II horror story, not part of the Siglerverse, as far as we know. But I wish I thought of it. Would it cool to have Kissy Man show up in this thing? You have a book plate handy.
I do.
Let's go to book plates.
I was also going to ask you, is the crypt part of the Siglerverse? We have gotten that question.
Oh, yeah, let's go to me.
16 times in the last week. 16. It's so many.
The crypt is part of the Siglerverse, for sure. It is the crypt era of the Siglerverse. So the 4 eras are pre-modern, which is basically, I think I've figured out for like 1980 and before. So everything going all the way back. That's Kissy Man. That's the Nocturnal prequel story we'll write someday. Then there's modern day, which is Infected, Contagious, Pandemic, Ancestor, Nocturnal, Earthcore, Mount Fitzroy. That's all stuff that the year the book was released is the same day and year in the Siglerverse that it's actually happening.
Right.
Then there's the Crypt era, which is 600 years from today. And that is what you are all enjoying right now is book 1 of the Crypt. And then there's the Galactic Football League era, which is 800 years. So that's really important to figure out, because when you read the Crypt, you're going to see the same names of alien species. You're going to see the same names of planets, the same human governments. But it is 200 years before the GFL. So 200 years is significant. What?
Big John says you always forget the Generations era.
That we don't know what the Generations era is.
That's why I wanted to point it out. Like, it's not forgetting. We don't quite
You're
know.
not allowed to know. You're not allowed to know that yet. So Generations trilogy is floating around in there somewhere. And if you guys if somebody says they're claustrophobic, you're not going to want to read the Crypt going forward if you're claustrophobic. Okay, so that answers the question. The Crypt is in it. Stuff you will see in the Crypt is things that will influence stuff in GFL. Stuff in GFL is foreshadowed by stuff in the Crypt. It all ties together. Don't know where the Generation trilogy fits in just yet. And then some of the modern day stuff factors into both. Like you'll see cool suits and cool products in the future stuff.
For sure.
Okay, book plate. Let's go. Let's show this.
So we have a new product in the store at scottsigler.com. It's a book plate. We've had a couple of orders, but I want you guys to see it. Can you put that up on the screen?
I'm looking for it right now. Yep.
Okay. If you go, you don't pay anything for the actual book plate. You're only paying for shipping, right? So what you'll do is scroll down a little bit, if you would. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Did it go south on you?
Buy it or try to buy it.
Okay.
Add to cart and
Add
then
to
go
cart.
to the cart. Interesting. There's something wrong with it. Okay, so we've had a few people buy these. You can buy it too. I just need your information. If you do it, you're going to pay for shipping to get it to you. And how it works is this.
Will shipping pop up if I put in an address?
Yeah, that doesn't really matter, actually. I would have rather you not did that.
Okay, back. I'm out.
So this is supposed to have a window where you put in which book you're asking for and any personalization notes. Something's wrong with it, so I will figure it out. But what will happen is this I have for you. This is a 5x7 book plate. Normal books are 6 inches by 9 inches, right? So this will go right on the... Do we have any book right here?
We got...
Like little...
We got shit down right here.
Yeah. So how this will work is you only pay for shipping because, of course, it's incredibly expensive for Scott to physically sign the flypaper, which is this one, right? Like to sign right here and have it shipped to you.
Yep.
Like this, right? This stuff. So instead, we're going to have him write it on this that weighs 0.2 ounces, and then we're going to put it in a fitted envelope that also weighs 0.3 ounces, and you're going to pay for shipping to get it to you wherever you are in the universe. If you have books like The Crypt that you bought on Amazon, maybe you found other books that were inscripted to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. This is great.
Or whatever, yeah.
So this is even smaller, I think, than the Rookie trade paperback. I finished this book. It's by Jeffrey H. Haskell. It's called Against All Odds. It's Grimm's War Book 1. Highly recommended. Starship combat military fiction. But here's the book plate. And as you can... Do I have the book plate?
Yeah. Well, the book plate's right here.
Great. So this, fold these back like this, is the same size as this. So pretty much anything you order, any book you have of mine, you're going to be able to get a signed book plate for it. And if I was you, I would just put it right in there like that. I sign it, you stick it.
And I'll show you this. This is a wasted one. I'm going to peel it off and show you. It is matte sticky paper. So that's the shiny side, which is the sticky side. But this side is matte, and he's going to write on it, and you're going to stick it right in the front of your book. And it isn't a signed book, but it is very, very close to a signed book. And that probably mitigates the folks who can't or don't want to do shipping across the world. So. Yep. That will make it nice.
So we have that, and we've talked about the book plates. Now, we got a little bit of time left. Good. Let's get into the wonderful... Did I miss anything? Yeah. I didn't mention the Steve things. I don't have that graphic ready, but let's go to Junkies, and let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Okay, so we got to do three podcasts. A and I were so overwhelmed, Frank, we did not get pictures from the Ross Patterson podcast, his NFL betting podcast, and then the Drinking Bros podcast, because I guess I was drinking on the Drinking Bros podcast, and we did not get. But what we did get pictures of was the wonderful junkie meetup we had at Great Night with Brian Brushwood, who is on picture right, and Justin R. Young on the left.
Yeah, Justin Robert Young is in the red or orange Longhorns hat, and in the camo hat on the other side of Scott, that's Brian Brushwood. They are both internet citizens of great esteem.
Yes, huge guys. Like the guy on the right, they both have, the guy on the right has 1 million subscribers to his YouTube channel. They've been around forever. We met them at Dragon Con many years ago. They're wonderful friends, great people. Put us on the show, and we had just a good time. They have a compound. Brian bought a literal cult compound in Austin, Texas, with 2 outbuildings, an extra house that they used for shipping stuff and for storage, and about 40 acres of land, including a bonfire pit, which we're going to get to in a second.
Yes, Citizen Gold. Absolutely scam school Brian Brushwood. I've known Brian and Justin a little bit longer than he has because I was part of the critical thinking skeptic community. And yes, exactly, that Brian Brushwood. You should absolutely seek this out and follow this. And Steve Rickenberg, help me out here. This is an awesome podcast.
Yeah, it's great. So it's called Great Night. And if you, I think you can find it on YouTube. Steve, if you can paste it in the link, the one I did should be on YouTube right now. They stream live on Twitch, then they port things out to everywhere else. But if you guys weren't there, didn't watch it live, you can watch it. Mm-hmm. Here we are we had 15 people come out to the middle of nowhere to a compound in Austin which is really fitting for us. And we got to hang out all night. They got to be the first live audience Brian has ever had. He bought this property and all these buildings because he was getting ready to start doing a bunch of live shows, and then COVID hit, and it slammed everything shut down. So they've been able to continue their live show. But they were absolutely delighted because the Junkies came out in force, and this was the first time they've had a live audience, and it was magical. The audience was great.
And before we lost the Lair of Doom downtown due to the pandemic, we hosted them in 2019. They did their show in San Diego, and a bunch of their fans came out to our office, the Lair of Doom, and then we went out and played arcade games at the end of the night. And they're the same audience. These are the same people with the same worldview. Like, you are similar people to the people who love Great Night. So check it out just in case, because they're wonderful.
And then here's A hanging out with some more of the lovely junkies. We had such a good time.
Christine, there you are. So, Christine, there's nothing wrong with your book plate, but there she is.
I did lose my Lions hat, though, and it's driving me crazy. I can't figure out where I might have put it. But we got, and then there's Tech Zen. We got some other people.
And you guys, the person in the light blue at the end of this row of beautiful humans. So it's Texan, it's Chris, and then it is Captain Travis Ellis.
No, that's not Captain Travis Ellis.
Isn't it?
No, that's not Captain Travis. No, that's I can't remember who that is now because it just got jostled from my brain. That's
me and Christine.
You and Christine. And let's see, and then these three troublemakers all getting together.
Me and my sis.
Look at them showing up, rocking the gear.
My sis and the boss,
Rocking the gear. It was fabulous. This is hanging out the compound, getting to tell a few stories. I think I might have a picture of Travis Ellis here somewhere, but I'll look for it.
We'll see it. He looks so much like Scott Lynch.
I can find it because his was vertical, and that screws with the way these come out. And then just there, look at this.
This is Vaughn.
This is Vaughn. If you look, Vaughn Lowe, and if you look in the background here, there's a pagoda where people used to be sacrificed. That's why it's lit up so well. Brian chose to not kill us. David Lamb, apparently it's not my lucky Lions hat because the Lions won the week I had lost it. So there we go. So let's that's it. Let's see if we can add real quick. Add Travis Ellis. You got to vamp.
Okay, I'll vamp. So you guys, I have had a handful of emails this week, and somebody just mentioned it in the chat. I think it was you, Citizen Gold. If you have ordered from Mysterious Galaxy or Amazon and you have not received your book, I want to give you a couple of pieces of information. The biggest one is we absolutely don't have access to the internal workings of Mysterious Galaxy or Amazon. However, I can tell you I believe Scott has signed every book that's available right now. Mysterious Galaxy has ordered several iterations of books several times, and he signed everything that exists at their store right now. I have no way to know if your book was in that mix. However, he will also sign books as soon as they come in. He goes in, we're in touch with them daily, and he'll go in and sign them. It could be, if you ordered a book today, it might take until Halloween to get it. I don't know.
Right.
What I do know is we are working as fast as possible. Mysterious Galaxy takes a lot of care and grace with each one of your books.
The pictures people are posting about these lovely packages getting Mysterious Galaxy with the bookmarks and the note and the wrapping paper, it's quite lovely.
And they communicate the message that you put in there, like, oh, I'm buying this for my spouse, it's his birthday. They say, happy birthday, things like that. That takes time and care and feeding. And also, this book is a print-on-demand book. So I believe, I don't know this for sure because I don't have an Amazon manager, but I believe Amazon in each region ordered some, and then they've ordered more. I can tell you that they've ordered more. What I'm seeing a lot is I get a handful of emails every day, but like, dude, I ordered this like 6 months ago, and it's been a whole week, and Amazon hasn't shipped it. I can't help you with that, but I can tell you that they will ship it as soon as they can. And I think by Halloween, everybody should have their books.
Yes. And Heidi Watkins is a new person in the chat room.
Hey, Heidi Watkins. Nice to meet you.
Very good. Hello, Jenny. And so that is our rushed episode because we want to get everything in by 7 o'clock, but
we have things to do.
We got books coming out, and we're going to have Slay out February 14th. We're working on that hard right now. John is working hard on that right now. Did the autographed copies. We got 6 week of deer camp. Next week, come back. We'll do the second half of the 6 week of deer camp. It's a little bit shorter, but it's heart-wrenching. It is heart-wrenching. Go ahead, babe.
I do want to mention, everybody listening tonight, if you don't know, we just told you about the book plates. I also want to tell you, right now at the ScottSigler.com store, we have a 15% off coupon.
That's right.
Only way out. Only way out.
Together.
Use that all together, no spaces. It's 15% off anything in our store.
Let's talk about that good stuff. We've got some, if you guys didn't get the newsletter, we got some fun new stuff that A came up with, put in the store. Here we are in the merch. By the way, Mr. Happy Chris Grawl is in the store right now, or he's in the chat room right now. He created this brilliant Lego version of the crypt. It's absolutely amazing. If you're a Lego head, that's the Kraken's version. If you're a Lego head, you will just eat this up. And what the download for the plans are free. You are responsible to buy your own parts for these things. And here's the book cover with the crypt put in so you can see just how dope it really is.
Wait, scroll back one sec. Mm-hmm. So you see you guys all see, that's the Lego crypt. Yeah. Because I just saw that right now.
Oh, did you?
I just saw it right now.
Lego on the left, business on the right. That's the way it goes. And then we also, I haven't posted this, I haven't done a social media post on this, but we have Kelly McCardle's amazing Octhera APC, Armored Personnel Carrier. This is so sick, you guys. It's so damn sick. There's the troop doors. He worked with me to get it. I was just sending him the fiction. He's like, I can do that. I can do that. It looks awesome.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Now, I posted the Keeling earlier because you'll recognize that from all the Siglerverse stuff. We've had it around for a while. But the Octhera, we didn't post that. We wanted you to be able to read the book first and get an idea what that is. Now, here's the new stuff. Of course, we got mugs, Stay Girthy thing. But over here, this is brand new. I got to get me one of these. The James Keeling pint glass. Very fun. All of this stuff, everything in the store that we ship is 15% off. For me, I'm better off with a sippy cup because, I'm not really ready for adult things. And then also, we've sold a couple of these already, which is very fun. The PV James Keeling. And is that it, babe? Or we have,
Those are the currently new ones, yeah.
Well, no, isn't the Kraken's one in there? Or we did not put that. No, that showed up in the other thing. That's weird.
It's only PUB James
PUB James Keeling stuff in merch. Okay. And then also we've got all this super fun clothing, including PUB James Keeling stuff. Everything's 15% off. If you can put it in your cart from our site, it's 15% off. And wait till tomorrow, maybe if you want to order so we can get that book plate. We'll look into what's going on with the book plate.
No, the book plate's in there. Are you talking?
But you just said it doesn't have the shipping on it.
Oh, but they can just still email me, it says. It's fine. They can still order that.
You got it. Okay.
Chris Grawl, Mr. Happy. Say no more, fam. There are some things we can and cannot do because we have to have the blanks, but I'll take a look for show. For show.
This is a black Susan. One. She's a pill, but we like her names. This is Enrique, and he is also a pill. This is
Sarah.
Sarah. I was going to say that's Karen. These are AI models that whatever the fuck. They just put the shirt on them like this.
They're very confident.
It's so funny. And here, you know what? It's a Christmas picture. You got a Keeling shirt, some bough of holly, and who doesn't walk around with a peppermint stick in their pants? Who doesn't do that? It's very good. This is very fun. They do all this stuff. I want them boots. Okay, let's go back. So that is your hyper FDO trying to explain to you that all the stuff at ScottSigler.com shop is 15% off through the end of the month. If you want to get ready for Christmas, get yourself some good stuff, it's the perfect time to do it. There we go.
Yeah. So we're a little bit late right now. So what I'll say is this. If you guys do not have your book yet and you're worried about it, please email us at info@emptysat. If you didn't purchase it from us, which you cannot purchase it from us, I still want to hear from you because I want to check in with Mysterious Galaxy. I want to send a note to our partners at Aethon, all that stuff. I still want to know. If you ordered a personalized or signed copy, that's a little special. It'll take a little time, but we'll get it to you, no problem. But if you have any concerns, I still want to know about them. I can't solve your problem because I am not Amazon and I am not Mysterious Galaxy, but I can help get your problem solved by talking to them. So please email me if you have any questions. Additionally, if you have any questions on all the things in the store or things you want in the store or things you want to use your 15% coupon by the end of the month on, let me know. because I can make them if they exist, and he says it's okay.
Yep. And anything you guys want, anything you want, we'll take care of it. So email all your requests to info@emptyset, questions info@emptyset, ideas. We just had Preposterous Hippopotamus say, when do we get a spoiler cast for the crypt?
Oh, no, it's a good question.
Email that in. And then I always forget this now, but
Oren, it's a while.
It's a while. So if you're not getting our SMS text alerts, we're almost at 800 people signed up for that. It's really fun. We don't spam the crap out of you. It's just when we drop an episode or we do this live stuff, we send that out. We put a new product in. I'll send the new stuff out to the SMS list. Text SIG-TEXT to 855-955-5095. That will get you another coupon for 10% off, but you can't use them together. And then, of course, last but not least, if you're not signed up for our newsletter, sign up for our newsletter because it's the right thing to do and a tasty way to do it. We all good?
Citizen Gold. I do want you to email me if there's a thing I can help you with. So when I say anything, I mostly mean it's about work. Sigler work, Scott's work.
Yep.
If you need to tell me that nobody has mowed your grass for 3 weeks, I will listen. I cannot help.
Dude, I won't listen. I'll be like, zero escape that shit, man. I'll have the expert answer for you immediately with not knowing anything about it.
Also, I have to tell you guys, we will be back next week, but we will not be here on the 25th of October.
Yep.
Because we have things to do. There's not going to be a cast that day. Yeah.
And then, Jen, this one's just for you. We're going out in style. 15% off right now. Stay girthy, 70s chic. Look what A has set up. This is so cool. You get it in aqua, black, orange, dope, red, or you can go true 70s and make that. Was that yellow? I thought no, you said yellow.
Yeah, why doesn't it change?
I don't know.
Weird.
But you got the other ones there. So we got all the sizes you could want. All the good stuff. So let's go back to Maine. We'll stop pimping stuff now. We just want to let you guys know that stuff is there and this is on sale. So now's the time to buy it.
And Marie Krieger, thank you so much. I love that you love my smile next to this the resting face. But we are so happy to be here with you. I love this cast. I love that we still have it. I love hearing the new stories. I had a shitty day, and he makes it better every day.
Aw, sweetest thing. She's the sweetest thing, you guys. I love this woman like nobody's business. All right, so that is it. We will be back next week, October 18th, same bat time, same bat channels, and you will get the conclusion of the 6th week of Deer Camp, but it's not the conclusion to the trilogy of short stories, which we will get to as soon as we get to it. We gave you all the info. Anything else, Sweet Pea?
I think that's it. If you haven't want to hear or learn more about the weird tales, that doesn't belong to us. You have to just Google it on the internet. So you'll get it, you'll buy it, you'll love it. It's awesome. And we'll be back next week.
Jen says the 4X for her because she's a girthy girl, so stay girthy fits in pretty well. All right, let's go back to Maine. Crap. What am I doing here? I could not find that Travis Ellis picture. We'll do that next time. We got to cancel here too. Hey, there we go. Hey, it's my Tom Hanks. Hey, how you doing? All right, so here we go. That's it. Now we're going to tell you all that stay smart.
Stay safe.
And stay science.
Well, you could have just jumped in with stay science.
Stay science.
And for the love of God, stay informed, you guys. We got all sorts of shit happening.
I mean, or for the love of science, which is different from the love of God, man.
That's a fair point. Here's a fair point.
Stay informed. And now, all of you lovely people, you may all hold on. I gotta get my shimmy. I gotta get my shimmy lined up. You may all kiss off into the sky. Ha, hoo, mwah!